Okay, the reason why I watched the program, actually, was to see Keith Lee. Because as you will recall, Keith Lee, I said, had the best debut match in AEW history. It was the only way. He looked like a monster. He got over convincingly. He did exactly what he needed to do to make an impact. It was, a pretty model big man going out getting over. So I'm thinking, can he do it twice in a row? And the answer is no. And part of the reason was because, oh my God, they have a cast of multitudes of unheard of job guys, right? From the Nightmare Factory, or now is it the QT Factory, or just the indie guys that want to show up. How did they book Keith Lee against a guy that was only 2 inches shorter than him, looked like only about 60 or 70 pounds lighter than him, gray-haired, and fucking fat? A fat white guy with gray hair. And this is Keith. They could got anybody. Where's Dwarf Dong Sucker when you need him? Can you imagine how far Keith Lee could have thrown that little fucking pinball? But no, so... And Drake, he opened the thing up with two shitty... The first thing you saw, he goes up to Keith Lee and gives him two shitty knife-edge chops that Keith Lee didn't sell, nor should he have. But it didn't even sound like a guy that size even trying. And then Keith Lee is doing the double hand palm chop, which to a little guy again, but this guy. And then Keith Lee shoots him off, and the fat guy does an up and over out of the turnbuckle. I guess to show that he can do it. Of course, when he landed, he nearly tripped and fell down trying to turn around and run the ropes. But it's not about seeing what the fat white guy with gray hair can fucking do. He did an up and over Keith Lee. This fucking guy looks like a parking attendant. And then they went to a break. In this match, they went to a break. When they came back, the fat white guy with gray hair was on offense. And he actually did a moonsault. Almost missed it completely, but Keith Lee was selling. And then finally, Lee caught him in his crossbody, power slam, boom, 1, 2, 3. And then, I swear to God, if it wasn't bad enough that he barely, nearly, just by the skin of his teeth, submerged past the fat white guy with gray hair, and here comes fucking Cesar Romero, Ryan Nemeth, that fucking skinny who the fuck. It looks like he went to give blood and forgot to say when. And they start trying to get heat on Keith Lee, and Keith Lee beats them all up, but it didn't look good. It was actually because this was just a mess by this point. And then Starks and Hobbs decide they're going to close in on Keith Lee, and they start headed that way. Oh my gosh. Starks and Hobbs and Keith Lee. Maybe that might be interesting. But no. Because Pockets came out. Pockets came out to back Keith Lee up in his third week in the company. And then, even though he did nothing, the heels just stopped. And there you have it. Wait a minute. Hold on. A fat job guy that made Keith Lee look rotten, and this whole thing was rotten. Did you see this? I forgot to ask you.
I did watch it. I didn't watch it live. I watched it a couple days ago.
It wasn't really live when it was live. But, I mean, how can somebody look like a world beater the first time? Well, part of it was the choice of opponent. And part of it was the formatting, and part of it was the clusterfuck at the end. But 2 weeks ago, the guy looked like a fucking future superstar, and here he looked like a fat guy in the middle of a bunch of fat fucks and skinny fucks.
Yeah, I can't explain it. The JD Drake, was that his name?
I suppose.
He was a big guy. I mean, the only way I could justify it, and I'm not justifying it in their minds, would be maybe now, last time we showed what he could do with a small guy, we'll show how strong he is now, but it wasn't really a showcase of him. It was just a competitive match with a guy that every now and then is on TV with hate to say it, but a job crew clique. I was about to say Cesar Romero. Cesar Menini, or whatever his name is. What is he, 6'8"? I mean, he's gigantic. So now Keith Lee's in there with a guy who's gigantic. The other guy was really big. Peter Avalon looks like crap, and it's the second time we've seen him, so he's still there. And Keith Lee's the one who threw him. Hey, book Keith Lee for a short match against a guy like that. Have him throw him around and pin him in 90 seconds.
There you go.
And you get more done than whatever this was. And like you said, I was able to accept it by the end. Okay, that's AEW for you. Take the simplicity of what could work with simplicity and just fuck it up and then claim victory. But then when Orange Cassidy came out to make the save, do you call it a save? I don't know what you call it.
No, you to make the walkout. He walked out and everybody just stopped what they were doing and then it all ended.
This was not the way I would have done it. I don't know anyone who would have done it this way other than Tony Khan.
You can have the guy work with a bigger guy to show his power, but the guy that he's working with needs to be able to work. And not to show what he can do, that's not his place, but to put the guy's stuff over that you're trying to get over, Keith Lee. So, and everybody that ran in at the end of this thing looked like fans at a Juggalo festival cosplaying the human oddities. Just weird, bizarre looking. Anyway, the only good thing about, go ahead.
I was going to say part of the problem is that Redbeard just beat up all the security guards. So there was no one to go out there and help Keith Lee except Orange Cassidy. Maybe.
They were all loading the one guy who broke his arm back into the goddamn ambulance. The only really positive thing on this program, CM Punk did a pre-tape. Still covered in blood. It was after the fucking match on Wednesday night and did a promo, The Attack by MJF, and did a promo about the pay-per-view and sold some tickets. That was a positive thing. I wish we'd see more of that. Some more girls got in a fake fight backstage. I know that's hard to believe. Serena Deeb beat Layla Gray in a minute, and then Hikaru Shida came out and just hit Serena Deeb 13 times was my count. She may have whiffed one with a kendo stick. Apparently another byproduct of all the security being in an ambulance. They can't just... Why do they have to hit people 12 and 13 times with something? I guess that's rhetorical.